Welcome everyone to the next episode of Dun & Bradstreet CFO Club. We are extremely privileged to have with us Ms. Sandhya Sharma of Schindler India. Sandhya, welcome to Dun & Bradstreet CFO Club. It's really a privilege to have you here.
My pleasure.
Sandhya, before we start, I think you are the first women CFO that I'm interviewing, so that's again a plus for us.
Great.
And with that, we would like to know, a little bit about your journey, from where and when did you aspire to become a finance profession, and how has been the journey from, start to this position?
After my BCom, I actually went for a receptionist job. I got rejected, thankfully. One wish which did not come true was good. And I got married after that. But coming from that time my fiance was coming from a family where they were highly educated and they had too much focus on education. So they kind of, I would say, forced me to study further, and I did my CA. And post that, when I was into CA, it really clicked in, or kind of triggered that no, with this degree I can really achieve something better in life than I thought. And I would say from there the journey started of becoming a finance professional.
This is such an excellent story, like people, so many times we hear that, women after marriage, their education stops or their career aspirations are curbed. But, for you, you got your wings after you got married, right? You got your direction
literally.
after you got married.
Literally.
So, it's such a positive India story in that context, right?
And truly, yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, for a woman leader to succeed, what is a family has in it? So, how much would you attribute to the support that she needs from the family?
I would say it is both ways. One, that how you communicate to the family what your aspirations are and what you want to achieve. Right? Many a times I feel personally, and I have seen many females, and I was also like that till some point in time, that I used to not respect my own job or my own profession so much. I would give a natural focus on my husband's profession more than myself. Okay, I wouldn't say I was very different till certain age, when I realized that I cannot be giving it a less importance. And this was again because one of the core values which my dad used to always share, that don't ask for privileges everywhere. You have to earn the privileges, not ask them. And this was ingrained in my mind all the time, that I used to never ask for leaves or a special permission. Because I was a lady, I wouldn't travel at night, I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't go to a certain area, or I wouldn't stay late, or whatever. So being a basic thought process ingrained, that you should not ask for privileges, I feel that has helped me a long way in coming to this position. And this combined with the family support that you explain to them, aspirations, plus the family understanding, I would say it's a 50-50. Nothing can be lopsided. If one is lopsided, it won't work.
I really like this thing that you said, that I'm not looking at having privileges. Being a woman, I would not do this, because if we talk about diversity in a professional world, if you want women in the boardroom, so we need to see that we are hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder with men. And I think that's a great thing that you have you mentioned, and I think it goes with a lot of professions. Do you ever think that as a woman, since you don't believe in privilege, you were ever given priority, or even you are not given the due respect? So either ways, do you think that sometimes there is a lack of balance?
Sorry, if you can repeat that question.
I'm saying that as a woman, have you ever think that you spoke about privileges, that you don't believe in having privileges, but have you ever think, and have you ever seen that as a woman you got more privilege, or sometimes as a woman you have not got what you're deserving? So did you face, as a woman, did you face any inequality in your as a favor, or maybe a hindrance as a professional?
Yeah, I would say hindrance at times. Okay, I wouldn't say I have not got favor. Uh, and I remember when I was in Mahindra, and my boss used to always say me in internal audit that for your family, Sandhya, you are the only one when I was expecting. And he used to tell you should go home on time, spend time with your family. This is the time where you need them the most, they need you the most, and it should always be kind of taken with equal seriousness. But at the same time, I know that when I was expecting, I did not have a car, and I used to travel by local train in my ninth month, literally. So I delivered my daughter on 1st of Feb, and on 19th of January, I was traveling in a local train from Kandivali to Worli in Mahindra. Not that I have anything against the organization, and it holds definitely a very special spot for me, but it's again about working with the manager. And I never said that just because I'm in the ninth month I wouldn't travel, because for me I was comfortable traveling, so I took that choice. I would say it again depended upon me rather than I would blame anyone else. I was quiet. I did not speak up for myself, and I feel that both at the times of favor and at the times of taking kind of a hit on anything, I would say one has to speak up, and I did not speak up, so I wouldn't blame anyone else. But yeah, the bad times were really bad, and that time I should have spoken. I now realize that I should have been more strong and more firm on certain things.
How, what do you think, Sandhya? I mean, you have been working for so long, and you see the new women are coming in the workforce much more, and even in the finance field much more. What do you think that how they are? Are they more equipped? They're more smarter? They speak up more? I mean, do you see a change from then to now?
I would say yes. Definitely, when I compare myself to them, they are definitely much more equipped. Both, I would say, environment-wise, the awareness is much higher now, which was not there so much when I started, I would say. And I feel strongly that these are much equipped. Only thing that they have to do is kind of self-respect and self-awareness that needs to be improved, which can take them to new heights. And why?
If I ask you that, if you can say that three qualities that you're looking for, two things. One is in a finance leader, and three qualities you're looking at a women finance leader. Can you make a difference to that, or is there a difference in the top three qualities?
I would say finance leader again. People usually talk about being a good accounts person or understanding more about financial aspects. I would rate that only as one of the qualities, but I feel that finance people need to grow further to become a leader is be people oriented. Many a times the trust levels that we have on our colleagues is very low. Okay, and I have heard terms like trust but verify. Okay, and that means that I get engrossed in checking someone else's work too many times. Okay, while I'm not supposed to do that. So as a finance professional, I feel that one has to come out of the accounting field purely, think from a business perspective holistically, and see that how finance can overall support the organization's vision and mission to grow, to support their processes, make it seamless, support in the digitization journey, support them in cost effectiveness, but support them rather than being kind of a gatekeeper. Okay, and third is always have a good interaction and be open towards other team members. I wouldn't say all only finance team members, but more so from business team members. And I have heard this from many finance professionals, including myself, till I would say a year back. I wouldn't trust people that the salesperson is he really thinking pro company, as to take the burden on my shoulders, as if the company is running on my shoulders and I am the one who's the gatekeeper standing to kind of let everyone in. And it is not that. So I feel that being like finance is one of the things. Definitely, you need to know the technique well of your own profession, but it is being people oriented and being more business oriented which will help become a finance leader. I wouldn't say women leadership will be any different, and that's because I've seen my first boss was a lady, so I never thought that there can be any hurdle in someone not not reaching that higher level. So I'm perfectly kind of in sync that the finance and women finance has to be seen.
Very good to know that. You really believe in equality and diversity in that respect. And, I mean, I concur your thoughts completely. I'll come to the finance professional bit a little bit. So, the last, I mean, this is unprecedented time. People have gone through a lot of things. Has there anything that you have, picked up in the last 8, 9 months in your professional world that you think that, it's not just meant for 8, 9 months that we have done because of the crisis which has hit us, but something that you want to continue in your professional journey? Any learnings, any steps that you have taken that you want to continue?
I would say a couple of them, Naina. One is analyzing cost. Somewhere I feel that I need to be a shopkeeper who's kind of knowing every penny moving out. Somewhere, being at a larger picture, we lose the visibility, and the smaller cost keeps on adding in the organization, which keeps on padding the cost. Okay, and I feel somewhere the cost efficiency needs to be brought in the system. Need to have and good to have needs to be bifurcated. This is one big learning, not that I wasn't aware of it, but I have practiced it to the core in this pandemic. Okay, second thing I feel is overall working on what is important for an organization to run post pandemic. Somewhere we lose that track, and we think about pandemic so much that we don't think that there is a life beyond pandemic as well. It is going to end someday.
Correct.
Not now, maybe 2 months, 6 months, whatever, but it's going to end. So what are the few things that I necessarily need to hold which will help me sustain my business or my efficiency overall as an organization post pandemic? So focusing on those important pillars in the organization, which I think so has been picked up during the pandemic. And third, I would say is people development and trust on the people. I personally wouldn't say, and I'll be brutally honest over here, that I as a manager was trusting my team members when they were working from home, although it was a company policy. Okay, I was not trusting them, but now my trust level on them is amazing. Not because anything has changed in the employee. The employee is doing the work, but for me it has become like now I'm not focusing on what is the in time and out time or the login and logout time. I'm focusing that whatever KPIs, objectives, whatever the role and duties of the person, if the person is completing and fulfilling that, then I don't need to bother about the aspects that when they are logging in and logging out. And I feel it has reciprocated so well that the team bonding and team trusting each other has reached newer heights, I would say, before and post pandemic.
Oh, this is excellent to know. And you are so right that work from home was a culture which was looked after differently from before, and it has become like a part of all of our life, and I'm sure that this is going to stay for some time now.
Mhm.
Um, as you said, trusting and making sure that cost efficiency and keep a hawk eye on it. What about risk? What about getting the correct data? How do you manage the risk management scenario? What are the tools that you use? And has there been, because there was a lot of different kind of risk which came up in the last
Mhm.
8 months. So how have you managed to sail through that?
Okay, I would say we used the scenario building approach, and thankfully we had colleagues from the other countries who also, like the China colleagues, had faced this before us, so they were aware of it. So we kind of got some support from the group on that, and then we did scenario building. I wouldn't say we specifically used a tool, but more Excel based. But then it helped us a lot overall in scenario building to take the right steps and guide the team accordingly. Because the field operation team, a guy sitting in Guwahati is clueless as to what he or she has to do next. So they need to be guided in terms of what they should be looking forward to. It should be optimistic but yet achievable target. And we then worked on monthly target for every team member, every area, every zone, looking at the modalities or the scenarios that they had. And this scenario building helped us to kind of push them as well. So I would say that, okay, yellow scenario is what you need to look at, but I'm okay if you reach red as well, because then this is what is expected because of the pandemic if it kind of worsens. But I want you to work towards the green so that you kind of overachieve.
Wanted to also understand from you that how much of digitization and automation has helped you. I mean, especially
Mhm.
in the last 8 months and otherwise also, because technology is coming in such a big way, and people are adapting to digitization, and obviously CFO plays a very very big role in being the person who is vocal and who is actually helping the company to take that decisions at some point of time. What is your views on this, and what have you done on that?
Okay, I would say digitization has played a big role, and more so because we could kind of work on KPIs at a very granular level. So that each area, what is their sales value, what is the revenue that they generate, what is the cost that they spend, and at a very minute or a very granular level, which helped us to monitor the costs better, bring cost efficiency in the system, as well as kind of work along with them to increase the revenues. And I recently saw a very good Facebook ad, which is about a milk shop. I don't know if you have seen it. It's about how this lady sees that in pandemic people have lost the jobs, and she hires people without having kind of enough vacancies in her shop. And her brother says that, why did you hire when you don't have vacancies? So she tells that, remember what dad used to mention, that खर्चे को कम मत करो, दुकान बड़ी करो. Okay, so bringing that thought process that how revenue can be increased, and I feel Schindler has many options in that. We have our AMC revenues, where we really ensured that all our customer engineers were equipped with PPEs right from day one. They had all the necessary kind of equipments, personal protective equipments, to go to places where they were COVID centers and all, ensuring that they had enough sanitization benefit, or even, in fact, more of a kind of approach also from insurance perspective, ensuring that they were taken care. If some of them were beaten by the police, and we had to kind of prep them up, because that was the initial lockdown time, was
Correct.
not really differentiating between the necessity versus luxury. And
Correct. Correct.
elevator has definitely become a necessity when the lift is not working, or people cannot even travel in the building. So I would say that it has kind of impacted a lot, but we have worked on these scenarios and tried to push the team to a more positive attitude and to look forward to really working on something different and something better, and not kind of sulk that nothing is happening.
Very good. I mean, it's so good to hear. You spoke about a lot about cost and, making sure that the cost, I mean, you're not unnecessarily spending in something. So how do you balance, how have you been able to balance between top line and bottom line?
Mm. Okay. If I see the approach for every cost is not only one parameter, of course, is good to have and need to have, but second is also thinking long term. Because if we think very short term, I can close down all offices. But does that serve the purpose? No, because 6 months down the line, I would still need them and I would rather spend more on taking them. So I would say we worked along on each line, both from good to have to need to have, and also on long term perspectives for every cost. And I would say all the team members have kind of supported me a lot. Not that it was my personal agenda, but I feel all of the team members who are generally, I would say, called as not so cost conscious are extremely cost conscious now. So I would say this pandemic has brought a sea change in everyone's thought process of thinking about cost, and every rupee that they spend, they will kind of double check, is there a budget available for it. So
Sandhya, from there, I mean, we heard a lot that, what are the steps that you have taken, in Schindler at your role. Now I'll go to, as an expert and as an advisor to, upcoming budding finance professional. What would be, two or three things that you would advise to someone who is looking to grow in your kind of role in the future? And what kind of support you think that that person should be able to get from a mentor like you, or, somebody who is at your kind of position?
I would say a holistic approach is the primary one if a person wants to grow at a leadership level, because the tendency is more to be finance oriented rather than being business oriented. And I would say it has to be to such an extent that I can glide through to a business role easily from a finance role. So I have to understand the business so well. I would say currently, and my organization, thankfully, Schindler gives me that opportunity. I I am a Spock for a few of the customers end to end. So I write from selling an elevator to maintaining their AMCs. I am the first person they call, and that's
Oh,
why
that's excellent.
so I never go to a business team and say, "अरे customer कुछ भी बोलता है ऐसा सुन लेंगे क्या?" No, because I know what the customer says and what customer's voice is. So feeling that myself and just giving a kind of, I would say, gyan out of the books is very different. So I have seen many organizations having a training on the product, which definitely I had on training of the product in terms of understanding the lift components and installing it. But it was also about connecting with the customer and owning few customers, which really gave me a business perspective and sense, which otherwise I wouldn't have kind of got it.
Okay, so you want, the present, I mean, I take it from this interview that, the budding finance professional should ensure that they have the proper customer focus. And it's
Yes.
obviously, I mean, given you have to know your numbers, you have to know your debit and credit side, you have to balance it, that's normal. But with that, you need to be something who can glide into a business role very, very fast. And that's something, with that note, I'll end today's interview. Thank you so much, Sandhya, for your time. And I'm sure, viewers will enjoy this interview as much as I enjoyed interacting with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Naina, and pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.